Welcome to AviatorDB News Briefing. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. First, breaking news headlines. Tailwheel failure damages Turbine Otter on Alaska Glacier takeoff. In other news, Newport NH plane crash, pilot seriously hurt at Parlin Airfield. Southwest Flight 3163 departure deviation at LaGuardia draws ATC correction. Delta jet struck by Firework Mortar on final approach to Chicago Midway. Seaplane makes hard East River landing, all 8 rescued. Now for the details. A de Havilland DHC-3T Vazar Turbine Otter, registration N424KT, sustained substantial damage after its tailwheel failed during takeoff from Ruth Glacier near Trapper Creek, Alaska, on July 2, 2026. The pilot, the sole occupant, was not injured, according to the Aviation Safety Network, ASN. The aircraft was operated by Rustair on behalf of K2 Aviation, a Talkeetna-based flight-seeing operator serving Denali National Park. NTSB. Data indicate the aircraft had been conducting multiple flights between Talkeetna Airport and glacier areas south of Denali on the day of the incident. The ASN classified the event under the ICAO occurrence category. Abnormal runway contact, ARC, noting the tailwheel failure occurred on takeoff from the remote glacier strip. No fatalities or injuries were reported. The DHC-3T Vazar Turbine Otter is a turbine engine conversion of the classic de Havilland DHC-3 Otter, widely used for backcountry and glacier operations across Alaska. The type is well suited to short, unimproved strips and glacier surfaces, and is a mainstay of flight-seeing and remote transport in the region. The National Transportation Safety Board has not yet released a formal report on the incident. Given the absence of injuries and the mechanical nature of the failure, the event is expected to be documented as a non-injury accident. Source: Aviation Safety Network, ASN Wikibase. A single-engine Ryan Navian crashed into trees off the end of the grass runway at Parlin Airfield, 2B3, in Newport, New Hampshire, on July 5, 2026, seriously injuring the sole pilot on board. The accident occurred at approximately 1:08 p.m., according to the Newport Police Department. Emergency crews from Newport Police, Fire, and EMS treated the pilot at the scene before a DART, Dartmouth-Hitchcock Advanced Response Team, helicopter airlifted the individual to Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon, NH. Injuries are described as serious but non-life-threatening. The aircraft, a privately owned Ryan Navian, registered as N5205K, was on a recreational flight. The Aviation Safety Network noted the plane crashed into trees at the end of the runway at Newport Parlin Field Airport. The FAA is leading the investigation, with assistance from local, state, and federal partners. No preliminary cause has been released. Investigators are expected to examine pilot experience, maintenance records, weather conditions, and mechanical factors. Newport police are asking anyone who witnessed the crash or has relevant information to call 603-863-3232. Parlin Field is a small general aviation airport with a grass runway bordered by trees, a configuration that can present operational challenges during takeoff and landing. The rapid emergency response and the pilot's survival underscore the importance of airframe integrity and timely medical evacuation in remote grass strip accidents. Additional details are expected as the FAA investigation progresses. Southwest Airlines Flight 3163 deviated from its standard departure procedure shortly after takeoff from New York's LaGuardia Airport, LGA, continuing straight ahead instead of executing a required right turn, according to an analysis of air traffic control audio published by the YouTube channel Captain Steve. The channel, hosted by an active pilot who reacts to real-world ATC recordings, said controllers quickly identified the deviation and issued corrective vectors to guide the Boeing 737 back onto its intended track. No injuries or damage were reported, and the aircraft continued safely to its destination. In the video, Captain Steve stressed that departures from LaGuardia's runway 31 require an immediate right turn and are never issued a runway heading clearance because of conflicting traffic flows at nearby Teterboro Airport and Newark Liberty International, EWR, both located just across the Hudson River. You will never get runway heading off of 31 at LaGuardia because of Teterboro and Newark traffic directly in front of you on the other side of the Hudson River, he said. The required turn keeps departures clear of those conflicting flows, a particularly critical constraint in the congested Northeast Corridor, where margins for error are narrow. No official statement from Southwest Airlines, the Federal Aviation Administration, or the National Transportation Safety Board has been publicly released regarding the event, and the exact date of the incident was not specified in the source material. The deviation appears to have been resolved tactically by air traffic control without escalation. The incident is the latest in a series of Southwest operational events examined by the Captain Steve Channel, which has previously covered a rejected takeoff in San Antonio and a near collision involving an ATC tower. A Delta Airlines flight was struck by a Firework mortar on final approach to Chicago Midway International Airport on the evening of July 4th, according to the airline and federal authorities. Delta Flight 176, an Airbus A319 operating from Atlanta, was on approach when the crew reported a loud impact at approximately 200 feet above ground level. The aircraft landed safely at 8:33 p.m. CDT with 52 passengers and 6 crew members aboard. No injuries were reported. In air traffic control recordings, a crew member is heard saying, "We just had a firework hit our plane," and later added they definitely felt a big bang. The Federal Aviation Administration confirmed the pilot reported a fireworks mortar strike at approximately 8:30 p.m. CDT. Delta said the aircraft was inspected after landing and no damage was found, though Chicago police initially described minor paint damage from an unknown object. The incident has been reported to aviation regulators and remains under investigation. Fireworks near airports present a well-documented hazard, particularly during holiday celebrations. At low altitude, sudden flashes or impacts can distract flight crews during one of the most critical phases of flight. Video of the incident shared by the YouTube aviation channel Takeoff spread rapidly across social media, amplifying public awareness of the risks posed by high-trajectory fireworks launched in residential areas beneath active approach corridors. While this event ended without injury or significant aircraft damage, it renews calls for stricter enforcement of fireworks restrictions near flight paths. A single-engine Quest Daher Kodiak 100 seaplane made a hard landing on the East River near East 23rd Street and FDR Drive just after noon Sunday, prompting a swift water rescue that brought all 8 occupants to safety, authorities said. The aircraft, arriving from the Hamptons, struck a wave during touchdown, snapping a wing strut and causing the plane to list with its left wing in the water, according to the Federal Aviation Administration and local reports. New York City Fire Department Marine units responded and removed the pilot and 7 passengers. 2 people suffered minor injuries and were treated at the scene, the FDNY said. The seaplane remained afloat and was towed to the NY Skyport dock. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the hard landing. The FAA noted that air traffic control was not providing services to the aircraft at the time, standard practice for visual flight rules seaplane operations. A 16-year-old passenger captured video from inside the cabin during the incident. The footage has circulated widely on social media. That's all we have for today. You can get the latest aviation news at aviatordb.com.